I'll call the March budget meeting to order with a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Scott Latham.
Here.
Tom Kennedy.
Here.
Tom Grattan.
Here.
Dawn Hagerman. Here. Christian Pryor.
Here.
In the event of an emergency, all visitors are advised that they may exit this room from the one side door which leads directly into the parking lot. In the event of an emergency, everyone is asked to move away from the building and do not attempt to leave in your automobiles, since this may cause traffic problems and block incoming emergency vehicles.
Okay, Chuck sold us the car last month, or last week, and now we're gonna get the component parts, so I guess Tony will run it, or some.
You're up, Chuck.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Again, as mentioned, tonight we're going to go with details of the different departments. Over the last few months, we've all met, went back and forth with the numbers, and again, we think we're presenting a very fair and frugal budget. And we're going to start off with no other than Mr. Dragone in Facilities.
All right, thank you. So as you can see, it's a relatively flat budget, 2.7% increase. Most of the increases is actually utility costs. They've been rising over the last couple of years, of course. And the material costs are getting more expensive and supplies, but I think Chuck could probably speak to it. The utility costs are a big part of this particular increase. All right, so one of the, we have an interfund transfer money, right, that will be a part of the budget. I don't know what the funding amount is yet. I think it's to be determined. So some of the possible projects that we will continue to take on throughout the district are continued HVAC improvements, continue our security upgrades, which is a lot of the door swipe access. Just know that when we do take on more door swipe access, it also increases our licensing fees. So of course, so the budget has some of that increases for licensing fees that we have to include because of including more door access. Roof projects. This year I hope to do the 2 middle school roofs, the pitched roofs. They're our oldest roofs that we have. So they're in need. We're going to continue some flooring upgrades. The playground could use some upgrades. Maintenance vehicle, we have 2 vehicles. We have our white one and we have our red pickup. The red pickup is the oldest one. It's not so much the miles, it's the wear underneath. The frame is starting to rot. So we are going to need to get a new vehicle. One is usually for grounds. The red truck is usually for grounds right now, and the white truck is for our maintenance. So if we get a new vehicle, the white truck would go to grounds, and then the new truck would go to maintenance. And we're also looking at some gym upgrades. We have wall padding that we're looking to upgrade in both the gyms, the high school and the elementary school. And and we're also looking at a batting cage that is electronic and drops down from the ceiling, as opposed to the netting that we have that's rather cumbersome, and you know, it takes manpower to open it up and close it. And if we are able to get the electrified version, it'll be a lot easier for us to take care of. Let's see if I don't mess this up again. All right. So as you know, we finished the boilers, right? We put 2 new boilers in. That was one of the biggest projects that we've done in a while in both schools. This, right now, we are in the planning for the installation of the 2 rooftop units right above here. That's units number 5 and 6. One does the library, and the other one does the shop and some science classes and so on and so forth. Those materials are in. Right now, it's just a matter of now that the snow is off the roof, and finding the time to coordinate. It's a little coordination issue. We have to have the roofing contractor as well as our HVAC contractor and the crane, and just kind of coordinate all of that. There's a good chance it could happen over April. I don't want to give you definites, but that's what we're shooting for if everything lines up.
These are the ones that we ordered a year ago, the one that's causing
These
the
are
leak?
the ones that were ordered a year ago. They
one
just, they came in end of December, January.
It's the one that's causing the leak in the science room?
Correct.
Yeah.
So that's the issue for the one unit, which is the one to the left. Once that unit gets pulled off, that's where we have to have the roofing contractor come in and do some repairs, and then we can put the new unit on. But ironically, after all the rain we had last week, I go into the science room periodically and just check on that, our system that we have in there. And the science teacher happened to be in there, and she goes, there hasn't been any water in here since October. So, like I said, it really depends on the way the wind blows.
Yeah.
It's not so much the heavy rain, it's just the way it's coming in. And that's why it's been so difficult to isolate and figure out exactly where it's coming from. But yeah, I was surprised when she said that bucket hadn't had anything in there since October. So, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But,
Just leave the bucket in the room even after it's done.
well, usually we unless it's rain, we try to take it out. If we know it's going to be clear days, we take it out, and then on the weekends, just in case we happen to get rain. But if we know there's going to be rain in the forecast, or snow on the roof that it's going to melt at some point, then we set up the little system and try to keep it contained. And I think that is it for me. Yep. If you guys have any questions regarding any of the projects or anticipated work.
Boilers as far as efficiency.
Well, we'll find out, right? This is the first winter. I'm not sure how we're going to be able to determine, it'll probably take a couple of years, another year. You got to understand, when they were building these boilers, we also used a lot more energy, right? A lot more tools were being used, and, the constant draw on electric between, welding and just anything that they were using, right? So that's constant. That's 7 hours a day that we weren't using before. So yeah, and we do think that we put in all those LED lights in the elementary school, and we will get savings there. But again, it's hard to tell because of all the construction that was going on in the boiler rooms in the elementary also. But yeah, maybe another year we can probably try to see if not so much dollar amounts, but actual kilowatts that used, right? Because the price changes, but the kilowatts shouldn't change. So, we can.
And the oil and gas.
What's that?
And the oil and gas usage.
Yeah, well, this year we used quite a bit of oil. Because we have, in the elementary school, we are told when we have to switch over. And we went, I think, 7, 8, 9 days this year, right?
Longest we've ever gone.
Yeah,
If it's
we went-
below
we
a
went-
certain temperature, you have to switch to oil because the need for gas is so great that they have a shortage. So any municipality whose building is less than a certain number of years old, we get notification, you have to switch to oil, and you got to stay on oil until we tell you so. And it's typically 6 hours, 12 hours, sometimes a day in this part of the state, because we're fairly temperate. But it was such a cold winter that we were doing 10 days in a row, 9 days in a row. We did it numerous different times. We had to get a 20,000 gallon tank?
Oh, no, we have a 10,000 and a 10,000.
Yeah, we had to get them filled. Normally, we top them off, at the end of the winter.
We're never in danger of running out,
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, we went through quite a bit.
Yeah, but we could,
And when the
there's got to be a
temperatures are
way
that-
we can gauge, if they're more efficient than what we were using.
That cold, though, we also, we don't let the building get too cold before, we have occupied and unoccupied modes. So if we know we're going to have a stretch of, single-digit weather, we'll keep it in occupied so that we don't have any issues with freeze-ups or, so there's a little bit more energy being used, but I think it's, it's the right way to go about it, as opposed to having a bigger
We all used
expense.
more this winter still.
That-
We all used more this winter.
Yeah.
Just a curiosity.
I just have a question. The lights that we're going to get for the sports in the fall, is that under facilities? Is that sports budget that we're going to?
Do you remember where it was?
I don't.
I'll find out for you, where we put the cost of that.
Okay.
You're talking about the portable lights we're gonna
Portable
bring in
lights, yeah,
for the end of that, for the last, 4 weeks or 3 weeks, yeah. I'll find out where we put that. Thank you,
That's it?
Anthony. Yep.
Thank you.
I know you have to go. Go. Yes.
Hi, everyone. So the elementary budget is relatively flat. The budget codes are maintained the same. There's not really much changes. There is a budget decrease of 1.45%, so not too much changing at the elementary level. Just some new updated pictures of my cuties. There's no questions. I'll turn it over to Tara.
Come in at negative, you don't, there's no questions. All good.
Thank you, Diana. So for our secondary budget, all of our programs, codes, offerings are being maintained. So just kind of some updates. We were able to run a Shokin this year for our middle school students again. This was the first year that we ran AP Statistics, also AP English Seminar, as well as Computer Science with AI and welding. So these were new courses this year. They're well attended and also, I believe, well-rounded for the different offerings and interests for our kids. So looking towards next year, we're starting a new awesome elective that's going to be a collaboration between Ms. Chaudhry, our new math teacher, as well as Ms. Monty, our newer science teacher, and it's going to be focusing on your future in STEM, where they're going to explore all different types and facets of STEM, what that entails, also future and potential careers. So being an elective, they're going to have guest speakers, they're going to have trips in there, so kind of not only aligning that instructional side, but also looking forward to the future for their potential jobs in the future. So my budget is up by 0.42%, so it's about $1,400. And the majority of that is going to updating our IMAX in the Soho TV lab, where we use that for editing, film editing and whatnot. We've been replacing those machines at about 4 or 5 a year, so I'm probably going to be able to get another 4 this year, and then that 5 will hopefully seal the deal, so that'll be done moving forward. As well as updated science supplies. Our new science regents exams at the high school level, it's very heavy into investigations. It's very different. So what we're doing is our teachers are looking into new materials that helps to align to those standards and helps along with those investigations. And then some other behind the scenes things that you wouldn't see up here. With our kind of shift in our faculty and staff, we had some retirees and some new ones coming in. We're seeing a huge surge of a want for professional development. So we've been able to not only increase those lines by taking away from some others. So a little shell behind the scenes, but that's pretty much where we're at right now. And yeah, very happy with that. Any questions? All right, thank you. And who's up after me? Oh, athletics. Mr. Flanagan, ladies and gentlemen.
How you doing, everybody? I'll be reviewing the athletics budget for next year. Overall, there's an increase of 4.49. The majority of these costs are really coming from our governing bodies, the New York State Athletic Association, Section 11. The increases are also coming from the officials' new contract. They've gone up like 6% the last couple of years each, in addition to increasing costs of venues. So the state championships, even the county championships being held at St. Joe's, these costs are all going up every year. And Section 11 is trying to keep it at a college campus and not going into the high school. So these costs are kind of sustaining themselves and going up because of the costs from the universities themselves. Other than that, everything is pretty much status quo moving forward. We're able to kind of roll through our uniforms, making sure all the teams have their new uniforms coming up every 3 to 5 years, making sure all the equipment is kind of updated. We're going to be looking to get a couple of big item pieces the next couple of years for our weight room, kind of keep that developing as we move forward. But yeah, that's what it's looking for next year. Any questions?
How's the participation been across teams?
Southold? Yeah. Good. I would say it's probably down like a little. Well, the spring actually we're taking a hit. We are reviewing kind of certain things that we're doing, but what's happening is we're getting coaches putting more of a year-round effort. So our soccer team is going year-round, our basketball team is going year-round, and so now we're getting to a point in the spring where a lot of kids are like, oh, I'm going to be doing AAU soccer. We have done a really nice job of making sure our school sports between 3 and 5, and then opening up our gyms to AAU, our soccer teams, our weight training programs from 5 on. So giving the students opportunities to do everything, it's just, I think, it's kind of new, and they're not even, I don't think they're aware that their bodies can sustain it and kind of move through. So that's going to take some encouragement from the coaches in the springtime to keep them kind of moving year-round through also. I think we're getting there. Overall, though, I am pretty satisfied. We've maintained at least a 70 average since I've been here. That's like 15 points against the national average, is about 55%. So Southold, we do very well. But like any other school, we do just the maintenance of everybody, keeping them there till senior year, having every senior compete, like they were those years before. There are kind of natural things that happen throughout the years, but we are combating it through trying to discussions with our coaches and taking strategies to do something. Cool. Thank you.
You're the only one left. Not thinking, you are the only one left.
Pupil Personnel Services, so just for your information, this encompasses the departments in special education, our mental health support team, which includes guidance counselors, school psychologists, social workers, our health offices, which are our nurses and nurse aides, ENL program for our English language learners, and I mentioned the guidance office. My overall budget increase is 2.85%. However, my budget remained pretty flat. I actually think this increase is because we moved a couple of budget lines into my budget that were not correctly allocated. So some lines moved under my budget. So it looks like an increase, but overall, my budget did remain relatively flat. Again, for your information, one of the biggest drivers in the PPS budget or special education is the cost for out-of-district students in out-of-district programs. We currently have 2 students in a residential program, and we have 1 student who is in a special education program at BOCES. We did just make a recommendation for another student to attend BOCES, so we're looking at possibly 2 for next year. Again, that's the biggest driver in the budget. We do, I'm a very strong believer in, keep educating our students in their home district as much as possible. So it really, it has to be a pretty challenging situation in order for a student to be placed out of district. And we have, the full continuum of services here that we're able to pretty much meet all of our students' needs. We have a multi-tiered system of supports where we're able to provide a multitude of building services to our students. So we're able to meet their needs in a myriad of ways. So again, these students in out-of-district programs, we're not able to meet their needs. But we look at their program every year, and we always strive to bring them back to district. Just some trends in mental health and what we're seeing in Southold, the region, and in New York State. We've been seeing declining enrollment for a while, obviously, in Southold, as we all know. However, that does not represent the increase that we consistently see in our English language learners. Our population continues to grow. Every year, our kindergarten classes, the majority of the students are English language learners, and we're seeing English language learners from, it was for a while it was predominantly Central American students from Guatemala, El Salvador, and now we're seeing students from all over the world, from Turkey, Georgia, the country, not the state. We have students from Portugal, Italy. We had a student from Iran a couple of years ago. So we're definitely seeing more diversity just in that population alone. Definitely seeing more students with autism spectrum disorders. There's been a significant rise in this. We opened up a new special class setting last year in the elementary school in order to meet the growing needs of our students on the spectrum, our students with significant needs. And again, this is not just in Southold, we're seeing it all over. And I know just in our neighboring schools in Mattituck and Greenport, they've also been adding new special classes and planning on more next year just to meet the growing demands that we're seeing here on the North Fork. Despite this, we still continue to see our students are thriving. Like I mentioned before, we have the multi-tiered system of support for our diverse learners. We're able to provide a myriad of services. We're very fortunate that we're able to meet their needs in a variety of ways. We have a full continuum of programs and services for our students with disabilities, all the way from preschool up through 12th grade and beyond. You know, we service students now until the age of 22. We have our continued collaboration with Family Service League through our North Fork Coalition that we started several years ago. So we continue to partner with them, and as a result, we continue to see a decrease in referrals for crisis intervention because more of our families are getting, and our students are getting ongoing mental health services, support, medication. And we have our counseling center. I should take out the new. It's not new anymore, but, we're meeting our students' needs in our counseling centers in both buildings. We have an awesome mental health support team, and we just have great things in place, and our kids are thriving. Any questions? Thank you.
Thanks.
So I just want to end it, I know, because we of course, we will put forth a budget that will be within the tax cap. The potential tax levy is 2.71%. Again, right now, we still have our expenditure budget is a little higher than our revenue budget that we're going to work on. We're looking for news for potential state aid, and again, we're sharpening our pencils. And again, I'll answer any questions. Our next meeting, the next meeting is the plan is April 15th is when the adoption of the budget. And again, it has to be done by April 21st, which of course that will meet it. But if there's any questions.
Our next board meeting is March 25th. That's not a budget meeting. Our next budget meeting, when we adopt, is in April.
The next budget,
Yeah.
right? April
Yep.
15th.
If you have, if you guys think of any questions, if you see anything in there, send them to Chuck or me, or both of us even better, and we'll get answers for you. So that when we get to that, when we get to that April date, you have every piece of information you could possibly need. And I'm confident that our budget will be balanced. I was pleased to see that just recently, one of the houses put out their proposal. That makes me feel like before we have to adopt, we're going to actually know what our state aid is. I mean, the truth is the 1% change, even if they went to the max 3% change, it really only changes us by $28,000. So it's not a tremendous change for us because our state aid is proportionally so low. But I do think that, it'll be in place and that will be beneficial to all districts on the island. Guessing at a multi-million-dollar budget is tough, So we believe ours will be balanced. We think we're really close to that already. We're still getting some final numbers. Unfortunately, we have to do things within a legalized timeline, and not everybody else always does. Or if they do, they're not held to it, so that's where we're at. But if you have questions or thoughts, or there's anything you want to know about, please feel free to send me an email, and I'll get and include Chuck, and we'll get the information for you.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Chuck.
We don't need a motion for
No,
adjournment. It's
no
just a
motion
meeting.
for adjournment, because it's not a meeting. Thank you.